Hello, everyone. Welcome to another show, IT Career Talk with Professionals. And today we have a product owner. Our guest is none other than Miss Annalyn Garillo. Ma'am, can you say hi to our audience?
Hi everyone. Good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening. What time zone is it? What time is it
Uh
there?
yeah, so we're 2 hours ahead sa Philippines. So I think right now it's 9 p.m. here and then should be 7 p.m. sa Philippines. We just had yung daylight saving time. So previously 3 hours yung difference. So now it's just 2 hours.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, what is a product owner? Can you describe that role for us?
Right. So, actually, medyo kakaiba yung role ko. My
Mm-hmm.
role is like product owner. I'm also a scrum master and I'm
Mm.
also a delivery lead. If you think about the framework ng product owner and a scrum master being in one role, I think majority nung nakakaalam about the agile principles and methodology now, we try to avoid those two roles being done by one person because there's always a conflict. However, I think because yung background ko talaga is I have Scrum Master background
Mm.
and then I moved now to a product ownership role. So mainly, ang role mo is more about looking after the application and working out the priority for the team and also planning, roadmap planning, understanding the business benefit for the company, for the team. Why are we doing this in the bigger picture? So, ikaw yung parang accountable for the team's worklog and backlog, product backlog. What are the things that we're working on and what's the priority? And in terms of me being like also a scrum master and a delivery lead at the same time, I also help out no roadmap planning of how we deliver those features. And if we have to shift and change our priorities, then I make that call.
Right, no.
Mm,
Very interesting position that you have, no. And you
yeah.
mentioned that you were a Scrum Master already. What
Yes.
skill set or what skill set, what value is necessary from a Scrum Master to move to a product owner, or is that even the usual progression that from Scrum
Um.
Master you become a product
Yes.
owner?
Yeah. I think it's common, especially because I also have technical BA and business analyst
Mm-hmm.
background. So I think um, part of it is you do a lot of analysis. You participate with stakeholder management and understand the requirements. What is the business requirements as well? Tapos yung Scrum Master role being the one who organize and make sure that you follow the ceremonies. Not strictly because I'm not very strict about yung mga ceremonies and yung mga dapat nating gawin in the agile model. It also depends on what the team needs. So part of my role is to make sure na we map back to what the program requires and how the operation model, operating rhythm of the program is. So, kailangan lang na lagi kang in tune with what the program needs and what is your work nature ng team nyo.
Right, no.
Mm.
And ito, quick question lang and quick answer lang is, how long naman yung sprints nyo or yung delivery nyo? Since as a delivery lead, I guess you manage
Yeah.
the time, no?
So that's interesting, right? Because I came from when I first joined yung sa NAB and then the ANZ.
Mm.
So the work nature kasi Salesforce yung sa NAB lending and then where I've shifted to sa ANZ.com which
Mm-hmm.
is using Adobe naman. So the work there is very fast and quick because of the tools that they use.
Mm.
So we use two-week sprints. But now in my current team, it's a mix of a SaaS product and a mainframe product. So for us to be able to work together on the right rhythm, we had to do 3 weeks kasi there are different kinds of work nature. So for us to be able to come up and negotiate at the middle. Yung isa mabilis, yung isa mabagal. So we came up with a negotiation na, sige, 3 weeks. But the rest of the program that we work with, they are in 2-week sprints.
Now, speaking about this, no, 3 weeks, you mentioned that, and there are times that you probably need to do hot fixes or maybe shorter than even 2 weeks, no? How do you deal with that unexpected change in the plan during that period? Or is that really strictly no, that will have to be followed in the next cycle or the next sprint?
Look, it depends again because me as a product owner, so I'll shift my product owner hat here.
Yes,
I'll
yes,
have
yes.
I'll have to understand and identify what's the risk. So that's the first question. Why do we want to do this? What happens if we don't? What are the risks? And are we
Right.
willing to take the risk? Right? So, yun yung mga measure na kailangan. And then, if you think na kailangan to, critical to, the system will die, the customers will not be happy, we will be sued. So, you have to think about all those things. And then you have to shift your priority and say, right, we have to do this, we have to deliver this, we have to make a workaround and accommodate it. And of course, kasama naman na yun sa process na if these things happen, what should we do? So in the operation for yung sa mga teams namin, there's always this plan na if we have emergency fixes, if we have to do something in production that is critical, then there's a way around it, that there's a change process that we have to follow.
Right, right. No. So does that mean na may buffer during planning? Like
Of
it's always.
course, yes. Yes,
And
I'm very particular about that. Kaya nga when I'm trying to plan for our backlog, like we just did our sprint planning on Monday, for example, I have to check with the team because again, hindi naman kasi ako yung gagawa. It's the
yes.
team who knows what to do. And they will tell me, okay, eto versus eto, alin ang gusto mo? Kasi masyado nang malaki yung backlog natin and I don't think we will have enough capacity and enough buffer if something happens because right now we just also implemented 2 weeks ago sa production, so we're still in the warranty period. So it means to say that if anything happens, we have to prioritize that over everything else that we're doing. And plus, in parallel, we have also some end-to-end testing that's also happening at the sideline because we're going to do some activation of the change of what we've done. So maraming in parallel. So we have to just prioritize na kapag bug fix, there's anything production issue, yan ang number one. If they need us to work on the integration testing issues and bug fixes, that's number two, because that will go to production to fix something that we find during end-to-end testing. And then number three are the ones that we need to do for the next cycle or the next quarter. Yes. So that's how we prioritize them. And plus, of course, buffer if they need to go on leave, if something happens, especially right now with the situation in COVID, and then if they have to do some training, because we encourage people also to learn, and not just do all the work all the time. So that's how we do things, and we have to make sure na there's always someone who can back up for the other person if they have to go away.
Right. You mentioned that a lot of the tickets or you're not the actual doer of the task, no? But just wanted to ask, is there any scripting or coding that you personally still do? And if you do, what technology do you do, or are you mostly now in management of the code? Yeah.
Yeah, so the team is usually the ones doing the code, but I try to understand the solution design. So I'm working more together with the architects to have the full solution overview. So there's design review for the architects for all the systems that's going to be involved with the change. So that will involve some of our teams, not just one of the teams that I'm looking after, but everyone in our team. So in our team, there's like four squads, right? So one is the mainframe, one is the SaaS, and then the rest of the bank. And we also have ETL team who transforms those messages across the different platforms. So if they are involved with the bigger design architecture, then I get involved in those sessions so that whatever my team has to do and have to solutionize for, I'm across why we went for that kind of decision versus this other decision, because they would also need to get a sign off from us product owners being the sponsors for those changes.
Right, right. No. As a product owner, is there a right number of products that you work on at a time? Or do you just work on one at a time, or is it like, you juggle between three products at the same time, or even more?
Um, Good question, because mine is a little bit of an anomaly, because since
Mm-hmm.
I started like a scrum master and I was looking after all the three or four squads, so I'm across with everyone's backlog.
Mm.
But because the other team is like the mainframe and they're not very agile, right? They're a little bit more waterfall.
Right.
So my focus is to get them more up to speed of how everything else operates. So my focus is mostly with them. But then it doesn't mean to say that I stop myself from just looking at their backlog. I
Mm.
also help out with the SaaS backlog as well as the other domains backlog. So I'm across all of them as well, because um, the work that our team is mainly doing is also driven by the backlog of the other teams. So I also get involved with the decisions with the other teams.
Right, right. No. So it seems like you're handling a lot of products in that sense at the same time.
Mm,
Mm. And for you, this is the normal. You said you're an anomaly because normal product owners are usually just
usually focus.
very focused. Right,
Correct.
right. Okay.
Yes, but again, it depends on what you want to do and how you
Mm.
do it. So I guess because my team trusts that I know what everyone is doing, so that's why I'm kind of like just across everyone, and then I try to help out with the decision making and work together with them.
Mm.
But I'm mainly focusing in one of the systems or one application, but then we are all codependent with each other, because their change affects us and then our change affects them. So everyone has to work together and
Mm.
collaborate. Yeah.
Great, no, great. Now, just wondering for our audience now, how did you become a product owner? Now, what was your journey like?
I
Even
know po. It's so
even
long.
yes, it's okay. That's what we're here for. Now, even did you always desire the IT
No.
profession? No. Oh, yan, good answer. Yan. I mean, not good answer, but it's a truth. No. We'll really find
Yeah.
out now how you started your IT
Yeah.
career.
I think there's a dilemma during college, or when like finishing high school and entering
Mm.
college for students. What should I do? What's my career path? What
Mm.
should I focus? Because we're all scared and we don't really know at the beginning what do we want to do.
That's true.
So it's funny that for me, actually my interest started like for the computer, right? My interest started when I was in high school, and I was using a computer, a keyboard, and I
Mm-hmm.
had like interest with the hardware and how it all works. And it
Mm-hmm.
was MS DOS at that time, so it was like the black screen
Yes, yes.
and all of that. Yeah. So anyway, and we have also this mentality, right? Sa Philippine culture, that we try to go to the path where we can finish early and
Mm.
we can earn and we
Mm-hmm.
can help our families and all of that, right? So there's
That's
that
true, no? That's
bit of
true.
pressure
Uh,
na instead of you really going for your passion, even if it's art or something else like language, it's not that um, it's not that accepted.
yes, yes,
Unlike
yes.
if you go for like a medical degree, a lawyer, or
Mm.
something in a fast path. But then again, yeah.
Well,
So coming back to
mm-mm.
my journey, um, I started with that, and then I took computer engineering
Engineering.
sa yes.
Mm-mm.
Cause a lot of I came from a girls' high school, all girls'
Mm.
high school.
Okay, okay.
Majority of them would be like doing nursing, teaching, accounting, which you'd see a lot like or in teaching, for example, and majority of them will be like the female, right?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So for me, I said, okay, I want to do something that a guy does, like engineering.
Okay.
So I said,
Okay.
okay, I'll be
Mm-mm.
around men so that I'll know how engineering works. And okay, so so that I don't really deviate from being like a female in a way. So I took computer engineering because I know that there's still majority of women doing computer engineering and
Mm-mm.
industrial engineering, for example. So I took computer engineering. Majority of my teammates and classmates, when I'm in a group, it's usually boys. So I'm usually
Mm.
the only female, and I'll be like the mother in our group.
Mm.
Anyway,
And
so
in that class, like when you
mm,
enrolled, what was the ratio like?
the ratio, oh my
Uh,
God, 10 women, and there were like 40 male.
all right, all right. So twenty
Yeah.
percent, yes, 20%.
Yeah. So
Mm-mm.
there was like some of us, some of the women in the class, in our class, changed their engineering when they went to third year. They
Mm.
major for other courses like ECE or IE. So there were, I think, only five of us left who
Mm.
took the computer engineering path and continued on. So anyway, I graduated 4.5 years because, of course, I wanted to finish as soon as possible so that I could start helping with the family and all of
Mm.
that. And
Mm.
I was the eldest in our family as well. So I don't know yet at the beginning what kind of job I wanted. All I
Mm.
know is that I graduated computer engineering, so I must go to like a computer kind of role, related
Mm.
role, right? And then I was struggling between hardware and software because I
Mm.
also had
Yes.
fascination with design. So during my college years, I liked doing design, doing hands-on work. So I applied for a technical support engineer in Pacific Internet,
Mm.
which is trying to, fixing the internet, fixing the modem, and all of that. And then during my 6 months of work, I
Mm-hmm.
realized that I don't really like doing hardware work.
Oh,
I
really?
don't
Yeah.
know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I know. I understand how to like assemble a computer. I
Yes.
know how to do the CPUs and all of that. How to look at like if there's a computer issue and all of that. So I understand how to do that because in college you used to do that for your own thesis and projects.
Mm-mm.
But then when I started working, I realized that it's not something that I wanted to do for my lifetime. I
Mm-mm.
thought that, okay, I don't think this sounds something that I want to pursue.
Right.
So there was a graduate program in one of the banks, so Equitable PCI Bank back
Mm-hmm.
then, which is now BDO. So there's a graduate program, and then you could join in, and then you will be assessed based on the different modules that you'll have to go through. What are your strengths and weaknesses, so that they will know where to put you in,
Mm.
which area of the bank can you work in. So I took that program, I joined that program, and then I started learning how to code in mainframe. I started learning about the different parts of the bank, the treasury, the deposits, the operations, and all of that. So I think because of the outcome of our graduate program per se, I went to the treasury systems, and in that time, I think because I have background in object oriented programming,
Programming.
so yeah, so Visual Basic 6 pa nun.
Mm-mm.
Visual Basic 6, and then they have in-house reporting system, so I was working on that one. And then okay, so I said, okay, I think this is something that I could do, but it was only what do you call that, focused on like reporting, so I wasn't too interested with it. So
Mm-mm.
I decided to join Accenture after that one. So I said, okay, maybe because Accenture is also a very prestigious company, right,
Yes.
and they
Yes.
work on projects and all of that, so it would be a good level up for my career. So that's what I was thinking when I
Mm-mm.
joined them. And they also have like this starter program because they landed with the Amex project and they need a lot of people. So they
Mm.
trained all of us with COBOL and Microfocus. I don't even have a background on that language, but I took it. I think the hiring manager was just, they were just interested about your passion for learning and
Yes.
what kind of logic and algorithm, and how do you manage yourself when you have hard situations. So I think that was the main interview focus, that they wanted to see whether you are up for the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a training for Microfocus and COBOL, and then interestingly enough, after we've done our training and waited on bench, the project got canceled.
Oh my goodness.
So after all that training, the project was canceled.
Yeah,
And then we
that's
were like,
mm-mm,
oh, okay, so what are we going to do? So there's another project that opened up,
mm-mm.
and it was a retail merchandising system. So again, it's different. Now
Yes.
we need to learn Oracle.
Ah.
So it was so
Mm.
funny. So we took another 3 months to study now Oracle PLSQL. So we did another training, but it's good because Accenture has the budget to train us, right? We were like a
Yes,
full
yes.
classroom of, I think,
Mm-mm.
40 or 50, and then there was a big project. So we were all trying to learn Oracle and PLSQL. So that started my journey of trying to move out from the mainframe again, but I haven't really practiced it. I just learned it, and then I moved to a different industry, which is retail merchandising.
Right, right.
And then my husband took a job in Singapore.
Mm.
So for us to be able to be together, I had to like find a job there in Singapore. So I have to leave my work in Accenture. At that time, it's really difficult because for women, we are kind of always having to decide whether we want to pursue family or we want to pursue our career.
Right, right.
So at that time, I had to decide to drop my career with Accenture
Mm-mm.
and follow my husband in Singapore so that we could be together with my family and my son.
Mm-mm. And
It was
if
a very big
mm.
decision for me
And if I
because,
may, mm-mm, sorry,
yes,
if I may ask lang, no, even some people will ask, kasi you've been trained almost twice by Accenture. Some people will ask, is there a normal kapalit for training? Like, do they lock you in? And when you
yes,
had to move, because you had to
yes,
move, or did you have to pay a bond? Parang ganun yung tanong
yes.
yan, no?
Yes. Yeah. So those are the risks, 'di ba? When you have to choose between moving out versus staying and all of that.
Mm-mm.
So my career was actually going very well in
Mm-mm.
Accenture. If
Right.
I think about it, I was moved to a client who was really like, they really like me. They really want me to stay on. But
Mm-mm.
then if I think about whether I choose my family or my career, that time I had to choose my family because I have a young son and I wanted to be with my husband. And and I know that Singapore has more they also have job opportunities for us, especially in IT. So I said, okay, then maybe I'll just find another job in Singapore and that's fine.
Right. And
So when I was in, yeah.
sorry, just to ask, no, I think this is a important topic in this line, no, because um you did mention that as a woman, you had to pick between a career and your family life.
Mm,
um just to give an idea, but or asking lang, no, asking, when your husband
mm,
also was offered the job in Singapore, this was a discussion naman at that point, or
mm.
um
Yes.
what, I kasi he could also have turned it down and stayed here, right? Or
Mm.
um what was this simultaneous, or how can you expand more on that situation, if you may, no?
Ah, yeah, that's fine. Actually, I pushed my husband
Ay, it's you who push your husband. Okay.
for economic reasons,
I
right?
see.
Like,
Okay.
let's
Yeah.
be honest
Mm-mm.
about this, right?
Mm-mm.
Like,
Of course, of course.
um, yeah. So I know that he will further his career when we
Mm-mm.
move there, and plus, I think for us as well. Like for me, I think it's a good step for us also, so that
Mm-mm.
I could further my career
Mm-mm.
and at the same time be together with my family.
Mm.
So it was an economical decision, and also like for us to be able to move forward with our
Right.
careers.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I think that's the next step of like moving on to a different course of your career path.
Mm-mm.
Plus, being more in the international scene.
All right.
Yeah,
Right.
so it
Right.
was a good opportunity that my husband was able to land on the job, and then now I can follow him, and then I can
Mm.
also try and find a job in Singapore. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Great. Great. No. And then so now you're in Singapore. What happened next?
Oh, so this is the funny part.
Mm.
When I moved to Singapore at that time, the jobs related to like the Visual Basic and the Oracle, the salaries are very menial. Like they're very low
Wow. In
because I think
Singapore, huh?
exactly,
Interesting.
right? But
Uh,
that was at that time. So it was so odd because the job offers and the opportunities were very low. So I had to find another job. And this time there was an opening in my husband's company
mm.
using mainframe.
Oh, back to mainframe. Yes.
Yeah, so back to mainframe. So and there was a lot of Filipinos in that company.
Mm.
So they were all very supportive with each other. So there would be a 3-month probationary period that you have to do coding and all of that. You will be given something to do,
Mm.
and you have to do it all by yourself from scratch.
Yes. Yes.
So everyone in the like all the Filipinos in the company, after work, they would help us out because they know that we are newbies and new starters, so they try to help out each other. I don't really have a hands-on experience with doing mainframe because
Yes.
I was
Yes.
only doing trainings a lot,
Mm.
right? But then I understand logic, I understand algorithm, and I understand what they wanted me to do. I just needed to understand how to use the language.
Mm.
That's it. How can I use the language? And since I had the training, and then there are a lot of support, so I was able to um, do what I need to do. And in fact, I stayed there for like 2 years, and
Right.
then I
Right.
learned a lot during the job. I was able to practice using mainframe.
Mm.
However, because it's like I started all over again, I feel really sad at the beginning because I feel like I'm starting again as a junior. When I was
Mm.
back in Accenture, I was already kind of like mid-level, but now
Yes.
I'm starting all over again. But then I thought about, okay, it's fine. Like everyone has to go through this kinds of situation that you
Mm.
start over and you took the risk, and that's fine. You know, it's okay as long as you have the drive within yourself to improve and learn as fast as you can so that you can move on to the next level of
Mm.
where you want to be.
Mm.
So after my 2-year contract with 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 Housing and Development Board, so that was the first job. I took another contract work outside, so I went to Singapore Exchange, and I'm also using mainframe, but this time SAS for mainframe. So it's a different tool again.
Okay.
And I learned from the job. Usually that's the funny thing also because I just learn while I'm on the job.
Mm.
I don't usually have the skill at the beginning, but they know that I understand the logic, and they know that, and I have proven it time and time again that when I'm on the job and I'm using the tool, I learn from it and I know how to use it after a
Yes.
while.
And you pick it up very quickly.
Correct, yes, because
Mm.
I'm not also afraid to ask a lot of questions, and I do a lot of research, and I also look at other work that has been done by my peers, and I use that as a reference. As long tayo naman may abilidad talaga tayo in that
Mm.
way, right? Like
Mm.
as long as we have the logic in our head, we understand what we need to do. It's just a matter of us leveraging and using the tools that is in front of us, then you can make it work,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I then just realized that I've been like jumping from one project to the next. So
Mm.
mostly after my first stint with HDB in Singapore, that's when I started jumping from one project to the other. So
Mm.
I went to Singapore Exchange to do one project, and then I went to Central Provident Fund. I did another project, and then I went back to Singapore Exchange again to do another project, and then my last career was with Citibank in Singapore. So
Mm.
I was doing authorizations for credit cards. I was in
Mm.
that system. So my husband was also working in the same company. So he was mostly doing the batch and the operations, and I was doing more of the business logic and the
Mm-hmm.
business process. Yeah. So that time I'm already doing more like a systems analyst role. I'm still doing coding, but I'm also helping out with the technical specifications, the functional documentations, and I learned different tools also in Citibank. So we did some migrations from IMS to Card Pack to Vision Plus. So I learned those other languages and tools as well. And then we decided to migrate to Australia because I think we wanted better education and life. So we applied here in Australia, and
Okay.
then yeah. So when we moved here, my husband decided he doesn't want to work for a while.
For a while. Akala ko retired na talaga. For
Hindi
a while.
naman.
For a
I think it's
while.
because he's been working since he graduated, and even when we were
Mm,
in Singapore, he had just been continuously working.
mm,
Unlike for me, because I was jumping from one project to the other. I do have breaks, like maybe 1 month. I think
mm.
that was the longest. But I do take breaks in between because of the different projects that I do.
Right, right.
Unlike him, like I think because he stays in the company longer, unlike me, I jump from one to the other.
Mm,
So he's been working for so long. So when we moved over here, um, I it was only me and my children first, and then my husband stayed back in Singapore.
mm.
So because they were still trying to finish a project, and our manager asked if he could still stay back for a while until that project completes. In the
Right.
meantime, I we started settling here so that my children can start going to school here,
Mm,
and I can start looking for a job as well. So it wasn't really easy. I'm telling you, at the beginning, everyone has to go through this situation where you have to adjust, learn, apply. I think it took me around 6 months
mm.
before I landed a job. And it's okay if you don't, if you get rejections, you just send your resume, send them through, and then if someone invites you for an interview, even if it's not really like for a job, maybe it's an agent, it's a good practice to attend those kinds of sessions, kasi you also learn how they do hiring.
I think you're on mute. Sorry, your icon got muted. There you go.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Where did I stop? Okay. So, yeah, so it's a good learning experience for you also
Mm,
to attend those different kinds of interviews because you learn. And the good thing about that is every interview you get a feedback.
mm,
So the next time you get better. So it took me around 6 months, and I wasn't applying all the time. There
mm,
would be lag times. I would stop. Like there would be a month that I would be mass sending, I would be updating cover letters, I would be updating my resume to fit to what the requirement of the job is. Then after a month, I would stop. I would pause. I would take a break because I need it so that I could keep my sanity and then I don't get depressed.
mm, mm,
Yeah. So after 6 months, I was able to land my first job here, and I'm not doing any more coding.
mm.
I'm able to now move on to a different role, which is a technical BA because of my background being a systems analyst.
Correct,
So you
correct.
just have to really persevere of what you want and learn. I've been studying also on the side because I don't have a really like a background of being a BA.
Mm,
So I had to get materials. I Some of my Filipino friends gave me handbooks so that I could study how the babok and all of that. So the
okay.
business analysis principles and all of that. So I studied on my own while I was also applying for
Mm,
jobs.
mm.
And that was the first job that gave me an opportunity to be a tech BA and move out from coding.
Right, right. And just for our audience, no, is this another restart? Parang is this like you? Did you feel like you're now starting again like a junior, or was it different this time?
I think different this time. I think I
Mm,
feel like I've leveled up now
mm,
because
mm,
I've moved away from really like being on the ground and doing the actual coding. And now I'm more into that level of understanding business requirements, putting them all together, and working with the developers.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And so you are now a, technical BA.
Yes.
And then
Yeah. So I landed. So this is another contract job. So after 1 year, after I finished with the project, I moved on to another project. Now I've moved on with NAB. So that's another bank here in Australia. So it's one of the big four, and then it's in the lending systems. So it's a different industry again, and different software and tools. So this time I'm working with the loan application system, specifically for the CRM, which is using Salesforce.
Yes.
So my first project was related to AML, anti-money laundering, and then some of the compliance requirements here in Australia that we have to build together inside the system. And then I also did digital marketing in cloud. So it's a different application again that I had to learn. But I wasn't doing hands-on. I'm more of like just trying to gather all the requirements, put them together, and work with the team so that they can implement the change.
Right.
Yeah, and then after that, I wasn't even looking for a job. A headhunter found me in LinkedIn. And I was in between moving houses. I wasn't really looking at that time, but I got interested because it's a permanent job. So I said, okay, why not try and see whether this will pan out good, and then we can go from there. So I interviewed with the agent first on, I think, Friday. And then he said, okay, how about I set you up for an initial interview with the hiring managers, this time in ANZ. So this is the company that I'm working with right now.
Yes.
And I said, yeah, okay, fine. If they like me, then maybe it's okay. We can pursue it. But I wasn't very serious about it because I was happy with the job that I have right now at that point in time. So he said, okay, I'll set you up for an interview on Monday. And then I said, okay, I'll come and see what will happen next, and then we'll go from there. I went for the interview. It was a panel. There were two guys. They were the head of that of ANZ.com website team. And then I think it went well. And so the agent told me, yeah. So it like I look again. It was just a casual conversation. They were just trying to know me, I think, and how do I handle situations? Not specifically about my skills, but just like when you're presented with this thing, what will you do and all of that. So that kind of conversation. And then the agent called me up after an hour from that interview and told me, hey, they like you. Would you be interested to do another interview, this time with the team itself, with the BAs? And I said, sure, okay, why not? Because I'm still on leave anyway because we're moving houses. So the next day, I came back again for another interview, which didn't last for an hour. I think it was just more like getting to know you.
Right.
And then now they have women inside the room. So there were two guys and two women who interviewed me. And after that, I received a call in the afternoon, and then the agent told me, you're hired. They liked you and they have an offer. And I said, what? Are you serious? And then they said, yeah, and they're willing to offer you beyond what you are getting right now, which is really like a big jump if I compare it for being a contract to going to a perm.
Yes.
Yeah, so I took the job, and then that's it. I'm now here in my current job.
Great. And your current job, just to clarify, what position did you start? Was it already the delivery lead and then Scrum Master
no.
and then yes.
No, so I started as an analyst, so as a BA as well. So the first year I started as a BA, And then I moved as a Scrum Master when I shifted to this other initiative within the company, which is the transformation for the bank. And then that's when I formally became a Scrum Master. So when I was an analyst, when I joined, I also was wearing a Scrum Master hat because I had a background for doing Scrum Master in my previous job. So therefore, I took the role as both like a tech BA analyst and a Scrum Master at the same time. So when I joined this transformation initiative here within the bank, there was a Scrum Master role specific to the program that they wanted to hire, not just a Scrum Master hat. So I said, okay, maybe I'd like to go this way instead of just being because there's another way, another path to being a product owner. Either you continue being an analyst or a BA and then move on to a product owner role, or you could choose the Scrum Master path and then you can move to a product owner role. So I chose this other path because I wanted also to gauge whether this is something that I really want to do, whether I want to do Scrum Master and not really a product owner. Because the difference is that for you as a Scrum Master, your focus is process. And if you're a product owner, your focus is on the product. So I was still not sure which one would I want to do, because I'm also passionate about making sure that the process works for the team so that we will have a very good operating rhythm and we could deliver faster and easier. Yeah. Yeah.
A couple more questions no, for us is to our audience and even to me, no, your journey is very successful. You were able to move to Singapore and even move to Australia, and a lot of people actually here in the Philippines we look at OFWs as successful people, right? But in a sense, right, there was always that push. Even you mentioned it that if you move to Singapore, there would be a better opportunity, and even in Australia. But now that you're there already, and reflecting on the previous years that you experienced, maybe in your own words, you can define to us what makes you successful or how you define success in life.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I was giving a bit of like a while ago when we were talking about success, right? Because I was thinking about that when I was like going through my journey, right? And when you are young and you think about being successful, I think the definition is different because you think about success as a comparison to other people's achievements. So you always compare yourself to be successful if you are in the same level as this person, with the same age, with the same background, then you are successful because you're a little bit ahead of that person. So that's kind of like how you were thinking of a success in being successful in your younger years, when you still don't have that full view of the career path that you want to go to. But right now, if I think about that, being successful is really relative to your own standard of success, of what you want to achieve in your own life. So the measure of success for me is more about what I wanted for my life, for my career, and what have I done, and what have I achieved so far to get to where I want to be. It's more of a challenge to myself to be a success rather than a comparison against my peers or the industry. Like all the other product owners or all the tech BAs in this society, in Australia, in the Philippines, in this company, in this industry. I think you're going to just stress yourself out to get to that place where everybody else is, but without you really understanding what do you want for yourself and where do you want to go and what do you want to achieve for your life. So for me, being successful is more about fulfilling the need for knowledge, fulfilling the need to be a good part, like, to be successful together with the company, to understand the vision and the mission and realize it together with your peers in your company where you're working with. So, yun talaga yung ultimate goal ko for now, is to get to where our mission is. Like, for example, we're doing transformation right now. So I want to be with the company to be successful in our transformation journey. So I think that's one level right now where I want to define where the success is for me right now. Because yun yung nakikita ko ngayon na achievement na gusto kong mangyari for myself and for my peers and for my company where I am at this time.
Right. Great, no? So
Mm.
before parang external yung comparison ng success, but now internal na siya. So guys, no, again, sa mga audience natin ngayon, baka you feel pressured, stressed kasi external yung comparison nyo, pero always look in the long run, internal ang definition ng success. Right.
Correct. And napansin ko rin for women, right? Because sa atin, specifically for women, we take pauses because of our family and our, we are the ones who like give birth. We are the ones who sometimes have to like take some responsibilities for the family. For example, we take care of our siblings or our parents if they're sick or something like that. So sometimes, nagkakaroon tayo ng pause within our career. And then, we compare ourselves with the other women, for example, na yung iba, they decided not to have a family. They decided not to have children. So, parang feeling mo, mas ahead na sila. Because you have to pause and you have to take maternity leave. Then, you fall behind kung ano man yung nangyayari na within the company. And then, sometimes you get laid off or something like that. So, here in Australia, usually 1 year ang maternity leave. So, you come back after 1 year.
Matagal, 1 year.
Yeah, but I know sa Philippines, I think like 2-3 months or 6 months maximum, so something like that. But you miss a lot during that period that you were away. And when you come back, you feel so left behind because yung mga peers mo nag-progress na. Some of them may have been promoted, but you got left behind, so you have to catch up. But then, the universe has its way of also putting you really where you should belong at that moment in time. So when I'm still in contact with some of my friends, like I have other Filona women who are also very successful, I can say, with their own careers. They are like in Toronto, some of them in Australia, some of them are in UK, and some are still in the Philippines or Singapore. And we used to talk about them being ahead of me kasi they just started having families when they were like in their late 30s. But for me, I decided to have my family early, so I was like in my early 20s. So I was really feeling a bit behind from them. But then now, nag-shift, nag-change. Kasi sila naman ngayon yung nagkaroon ng family, they have small children, and mine, yung sa akin naman, my children are already like teenagers. So now I have more opportunity to really focus on what I want. And now, pantay na kami. Like, whatever they have achieved, I have somehow kind of like caught up with wherever they are. And maybe some of them, bragging aside, I may have surpassed them already. You know? So don't feel pressured na just because you decide to have a family or you decide to have children na wala ka ng chance later on to catch up. You can always catch up if you have the drive and you have the willingness to really get to where you want to be. Because yun yung motivation mo for yourself, right?
Right. No.
So wag mo iisipin na hindi mo na maaabot yung mga dreams mo or yung goals mo. It's just a matter of your perseverance and motivation to get there.
Right. And that's a very great advice, no? Especially to the ladies that are watching. Everyone has their own pace, Whether you start early
Correct.
or start late, everyone has their own pace. That's a
Yeah.
very good
You, it's
advice.
it's not it's not an excuse really. It shouldn't matter. Kailangan mo lang talaga, you have to the willingness to go back to the race, to learn, to get up to speed. Ano na ba yung technology ngayon?
Mm-mm.
What can I do? Do a lot of research and socialize. Make sure you widen your circle of friends so that you can keep in touch and get contact to, okay, what's happening right now? Maybe I could try to learn new things over here. There's a lot of opportunities over there. You just have to look. You have to really look.
Right, right. No? And so, ma'am, I have my last question na lang, no? Since
Yeah.
we're a little over time, no, but I really enjoyed
Oh,
the
sorry.
I really enjoyed the conversation, no? So my last question is there anything currently that you're passionate about? Or even if it's beyond the IT scope, no? Is there anything like right now you're focused on? Um, yeah.
Ah, yeah, so I think number one, siyempre yung family kasi yung eldest son ko is
Mm-mm.
just started his uni, so he's taking up engineering as well.
Sumunod
So
sa'yo, more or less.
kind of, yeah, hindi pa rin niya alam kung anong klaseng engineering ang gusto
Mm-mm.
niya. So I think he's doing engineering and science double degree. Then he's thinking about what kind of focus ng engineering yung gusto niyang gawin.
Mm-mm.
And then I have another teenage son. And then besides work, so right now I'm also studying again. So I took
Mm.
up a course about leading strategic programs. So again, very important that you keep learning. So at this age, like every year, I try to find something that I could learn.
Mm.
Uh, and you should invest on it. Not just because it's something na kailangan ng company na certification or something like that. It's something because you want to do it for your own self,
Mm-mm.
for your own improvement. Kasi you acknowledge that you may lack the skill or you'll need the skill. So for me, because I've just stepped into the product owner role, therefore I have acknowledged that I need to level up my skills so that I'll be able to be effective, to be an effective leader in
Right.
my role. Yes. So besides the work stuff, I do a bit of cooking, I do a bit of gardening, and then because of the COVID, I did a lot of walking because
Mm.
it
Walking.
relieves my stress.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
walking
So
only in
around in our neighborhood. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So maybe sometimes I will be in my meetings and in my calls on my phone while I'm walking.
Mm-mm. Right, right.
Yeah.
And this is how you maintain your work-life balance. So or
Oh, yeah,
Mm-mm.
correct. Yes. So I have this routine that I try to walk at least 2 hours a day.
Wow.
So
Mm-mm.
yeah, so I just walk around the neighborhood, and then I have back-to-back meetings sometimes. Then I would be in a call, or in between, um, I'll just be listening to music, something like that.
Mm-mm.
But I try to put it in my daily routine that I walk,
Right.
and then I make time after work to cook for my
Mm-mm.
family because I also like cooking. And sometimes during weekends, I do some bits of gardening, or we travel around our place. Like if we can go to other areas within Victoria or Melbourne.
Right, right. So again, thank you so much for agreeing to our interview. No, it's a great to see the insights, your insights, of your career and how you're able to maintain that family and work-life balance.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you also for inviting me to this interview.
Yes, yes. So, audience, again, if you like our content or if you want to have follow up questions, don't forget to just comment below, right? You can comment there, add your, or even, if you learned something or reactions, right, on our show today, then feel free to express that also below, no? And again, thank you, ma'am Garillo.
Thank
Do you have
you.
Do you have any shout out? Parang ano, yung parang pa-shout out naman dyan. Parang ganyan, kung meron ka
Oh,
lang.
wala naman. I just
Wala
want to
naman.
say hello and thank you and mag-ingat kayo lagi and, take care of yourself and know thyself. Love thyself.
Love thyself. Right, right. That's great, no? Alright, everyone. Thank you again. And that ends our show. And of course, if you like our content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. Bye!
Bye. Thank you.